Week 3, day 6. Remember, this one is a little bit different because we are gonna start our single crochets going around after we do our last round of grannies. So I do have to change color again. So I'm going to hold my tail over here and I'm changing to green. So I'm gonna pinch that one in there and then I'm going to slip stitch into there, tie it off, and this one is gonna be at the outside of our grouping when we come back around, or the last one of our, the last double crochet of our last grouping when we go around. So I'm gonna try this time just doing a straight chain 2, and we'll see how we like it when we come back around, because I'm not really a fan of this little loop right here. So we'll see which one kind of blends in easier. So we'll chain 2, and that's what I mean. Crochet is an art form. I know I do it differently than a lot of other people. I'm 100% self-taught between Googling pictures of stitches and YouTube videos and going by descriptions in patterns of stitches. So you might see a lot of things on here. I mean, there's millions of people that have been crocheting way longer than me. So if you don't like a certain way that I do something, that's totally fine. You do it your own way. Some of this stuff, you know, like this, we can kind of experiment with it as we go to see which way looks best to us. Because I'll tell you right now, this little guy right here is really bothering me. So I want to figure out a way to make sure we don't have that every time we come around this way. This is what's causing it, is our little join here. So if I continue to have that, if it doesn't look good when I come back around, I probably am gonna go to a standing stitch, and I'll do a video on that, obviously, to show you, because that is gonna give us a clean switch of colors without going into a stitch like this, and then we won't have to worry about that again. And again, if that doesn't bother you, then good for you. You don't have to worry about it, and you can just do it like this. But I'm a little bit weird, so okay. So anyways, I did my my chain 2, and then, as I said, this is going to be the end of our last group of 3 when we come around. So I am actually going to be moving on to my next group of 3. So I need to chain 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 double crochets in my next group here. And I will go ahead and chain 1, and then I will just go around this corner here for you, and then I will come back at the end of this round and we will switch into our single crochets to get started on our little border that we're going to be doing around each of our squares to get that nice little finish at the end. So this is my corner. So I am doing 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to chain 3, and then I am going to do 3 more double crochets. Whoops. And then I'm going to chain 1 before I go into my next grouping. And when I come around to switch you guys over to the single crochet, I'm not going to come back at this corner. I think you guys have got it. So I'm going to come back right here, right when we're getting ready to switch into our single crochets. Okay, we are all the way around. And as I said before, we did our chain 2 for our last double crochet of the round. So we're going to go ahead and do our first 2 for this little grouping. 2 double crochets, and then we are going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. So we've got 1, 2. Remember that we want to keep an extra one there going into that next grouping. So we're going to slip stitch, and then for day 6 we technically have 2 rounds because we did our last round of granny stitches, and now I'm going to go around with my first round of single crochets on that day 6 still. And the reason why I did that is because I like the look of 2 rounds of single crochet. It's just a little bit thicker and it makes a nicer border around each square than just going around with single crochets one time. And obviously that made an extra, that made 8 days instead of 7. So if we wanted to go by weeks, we needed to stick one of those rounds of single crochets onto day 6. So in order to go into my rounds of single crochet, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm in a chain space first. So I'm going to chain 1 in each chain space, or sorry, single crochet in each chain space, and then I'm going to go into the top of that first double crochet. Make sure you don't skip that first one, okay? Because sometimes it might go underneath your single crochet from your chain space. So just look up the top of your first double crochet. You can see that it's up here. And you're going to go 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So you've got 3 double crochets there. Then you've got 1 chain space, and then you've got 3 double crochets, and you're just only doing single crochets all the way around this round. I've got a 1 chain space, and I've got 3 double crochets. And then in each corner, I'm actually going to do 5, and the reason why I chose 5 is because it makes a little bit more of a corner here than this kind of rounded guy, and it gives me 2 single crochet on this side, and then a 1 corner single crochet, and then 2 single crochet on this side. It's a little bit crowded in there, but I really think that it makes more of a corner if your stitches are crowded in that corner. It makes them really go around there, and I lost track because I was talking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you can see here that my last one totally covered up the top of that double crochet, so you want to make sure you pull that over a little bit and don't miss that first double crochet. Okay, so then you're going to do all the way around. You're going to do 3 or 1 in every stitch, so 1 in every double crochet, 1 in that chain 1 space, 1 in every double. So you're doing 1 all the way around in every stitch except the corners. You're going to do 5, okay? And then I will meet you. I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around, and then I'll meet you back for our slip stitch. Okay, so to finish this round, I am going to slip stitch, not into my slip stitch from the previous round, but into my chain 1 space. And I should mention this before, for those of you that are newer, you might want to use a stitch marker to mark that chain 1 so that you know which one you're supposed to actually go into, because generally your slip stitch is going to be smaller, and then you did that little extra chain 1 to give you to get you up into the next round. And I'm not going to actually slip stitch because I'm going to need to change color for round 7, but again, to slip stitch you would just yarn over and pull through both, and then keep going if you don't have to change color. But I will be back in a moment for day 7 with a new color.